Right now it's an impossible mission to find something realistic in this franchise. But it's literally called Mission Impossible, so what do we want? We watch this to see Tom Cruise running, jumping, riding a motorcycle in Europe, running… Oh, did I mention running? And you find plenty of all this, unlike some logic. If you turn off the brain and just watch some action, you would definitely enjoy it, as it is a typical action movie with a lot of shootings and explosions. But when you start thinking about it too much, it all loses sense. The Entity is an AI that can breach every data server, is a villain in this movie. Well, it grows fast nowadays, but at first let them manage with paint in hands. The almighty Entity creates a plan where it escapes to the bottom of the ocean, under ice, where it controls everything. Well, it's a Despicable Me level of a bad guy.
Next, we are going to steal the moon!
This one has almost nothing in common with the previous movie. I don't know why they call it one story, but it has no apostles, no Solomon Lane, and the only thing the same from the Fallout is White Widow. But first things first, the submarine. Tom Cruise saw that Mr. Bolt Family Guy had a submarine, so he decided that he wants an even better one, with an AI. But Sevastopol is a Ukrainian city. Why the hell name a Russian sub with the name of a Ukrainian city? Thanks to the Entity it sank. At least something good. So a very powerful AI is in a Russian sub, and they have only one key. And that's even more stupid, as Americans kinda put it there to follow Russians. No one knew about such sophisticated creation, no one made a deactivation program, but someone spent some time putting blinkers into the key. Ethan Hunt is again approached by the authorities to find his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend in the desert and get the first part of the key to the Entity. And literally after 5 minutes is named by the same authorities unreliable, rebellious, and becomes persecuted. But he once again can easily survive with his own government against him, so he easily travels to Abu Dhabi. There he wants to meet a person who has the second part of the key, but meets a thief called Grace, who steals it and escapes to Rome. Ethan, on the other hand, steals her heart. In Rome, Ethan extracts Grace from Rome PD, and for a good 20 minutes once again proves the worthlessness of European police. As well, they are followed by a crazy French chick who drives an armored vehicle. After that, they move to Venice, where Ethan, Ilsa and Grace confront White Widow, who is trying to figure out to whom to sell the second part of the key. Gabriel, an enemy from Ethan's past, represents the Entity itself, and a crazy French chick assists him. After some mess, Gabriel, with the help of the AI, makes Ilsa Ethan's ex-girlfriend. So Ethan insists obstinately Grace join the team, and next day makes her undercover of being White Widow to meet the buyer on a train. After that we see an incredible stunt by Tom Cruise jumping off a cliff on a motorcycle and landing on the train. Then we see some spy twists about who betrays whom. Eventually Ethan gets the whole key, saves Grace a couple of times and escapes. I call it an unnecessarily complicated simple plot. All these plot twists and spy games are complicated to understand but simple to get. And honestly, an artificial intelligence becoming a villain, a tyrant, with the prospect of conquering the world, and nations fighting for it, and loud words
"War is coming"
are funny to me, as we have nowadays a real war, a real tyrant, and Ethan Hunt is nowhere to be seen. Ethan Hunt seems too perfect. He is like a Superman. He works against every secret service organization, against the supercomputer, jumps on the train with a parachute, does pretty much all he wants. All women love him, and no one can do nothing to him. But as for the actor, Tom Cruise does his best. It's an honor to watch him doing his stunts by himself. Rebecca Ferguson is stunning, but her character, as for me, exists in this movie just to die. Basically all she does is off-screen. She's a moral trigger for Hunt to create a tension between his vengeance for her death and the necessity to keep Gabriel alive. Luther and Benji are a comedic relief duo who can hack real-time the security of every camera in the airport and every satellite in the world. They mostly exist to navigate Hunt while he is running. But the best part of this movie is some female characters. Hayley Atwell as Grace is the reason you should at least think about watching Mission 7. Her performance is charming and her character has some importance to the plot. Honestly, it's not Maggie Carter, who exists just as a love interest for Captain America. She moves the story. Pom Klementieff as Paris steals the scenes she is in, despite a minimal amount of lines, especially the chase scene in Rome and alley fight, though I think they should have shot it like in Old Boy from the side. And a shout out to the costume designer for her look in the club, which they even put on a poster, and her yells. Gabriel's character should have been invisible only to cameras, but he was invisible to me as well. Maybe in the next movie he will have a better role. Vanessa Kirby's White Widow can't decide whose side she's on. In Fallout I liked her more, to be honest. It's a big budget Hollywood blockbuster. The picture is of course beautiful and attractive, but nothing more. No messages, no modern problems, just old-fashioned saving the world from a global threat. Okay, maybe a little bit about the threat of the development of an AI. And I am a little puzzled why they created a totally fresh plot, as it only vaguely connected to the previous missions. For some characters and mind-blowing stunts, I rate this 7 out of 12. I wasn't the biggest fan of this spy franchise, and this movie won't persuade me to be one. But of course it's the first part and they at least built a desire to see the second one, but this first part is weaker than Into the Spider-Verse and far weaker than Infinity War. Well, at least we'll get plenty of her cosplay soon.